Good morning, everyone, from the Dragon Hall bookstore here at the Creation Museum. I'm going to talk a bit about Bill Nye this morning. Now you might say, why are you talking about Bill Nye? Well, I have a burden for Bill Nye, actually. I believe we need to be praying for him and for his salvation. But he is actually premiering his new documentary, the new documentary Bill Nye Science Guy, this coming March the 12th. In Austin, Texas, and according to what I've seen on the website, it seems that a number of atheists, Neil deGrasse Tyson and others, are featured in that documentary, and he also says Ken Ham, and that's why I believe he came with the video team to the Ark the day after we opened it to the public last year in July. We opened it to the public on July 7, and then Bill Nye came because of an invitation that I gave him to come, and I'd walk him through the Ark personally. So I'll tell you a little bit about that here in a moment. But March 13, Monday night, we're actually doing a live stream of that walk through the Ark. It's 2 hours. And it's fascinating because I actually challenged Bill Nye concerning his foundation in naturalism and the consequences of that. I'm able to share the gospel with him, and I'm able to pray with him as well. But let me give you some background. Bill Nye is also coming out with a series in April on Netflix called Bill Nye Saves the World. Well, I've got news for Bill Nye. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Jesus Christ is the Savior of the world. So it's not Bill Nye who's going to save the world. So we need to remember that right up front. And, in that series, I'm sure Bill Nye is going to do fun things, because I've seen some of the trailers, things exploding and so on, observational science. But then he's going to talk about historical science, but he's going to call it all science. And by historical science, I mean his beliefs about evolution, naturalism, Big Bang, and so on. And Bill Nye actually is well known in America. I mean, he's an engineer, but he's been on television, Bill Nye the Science Guy. He's influenced a lot of people, influences a lot of children. That's why I believe it's important to talk about him, particularly as he's coming out with this new documentary and then the Netflix series as well. And so, after the Ark opened, Bill Nye came to the Ark. Now, he agreed to come at my invitation to the Ark to walk through, but he said he would bring a video crew with him. And so we made a stipulation, only if we can have our video crew there as well. And so we film it, and we can do what we want with that, and you can do what you want with it. And we all agreed to that. So we had two video teams. Bill Nye wanted to start on the third deck. I met him downstairs. By the way, as we were talking, there was this massive crack of lightning, and I think I jumped about a foot. But it sort of reminded us of in the days of Noah as the flood was coming and the judgment was coming. But he wanted to start on the third deck and not on the first deck. I was going to walk him through deck 1, 2, 3. He wanted to start on the third deck, and the reason was he went up there and went straight to our flood geology exhibit and straight to the section where we talk about climate change. That's his big thing. And of course he calls us climate change deniers, and we don't deny climate change at all. We certainly don't agree with him that man has been the main reason for climate change. In fact, if you don't believe the history of the world as the Bible reveals to us concerning the flood, concerning then the aftermath of the flood, and then the consequences of the flood we believe generated an ice age. This all involved climate change, and there's been climate change ever since the flood. In fact, just recently, scientists were talking about over in the Sahara Desert how it used to be very lush, very green, and now look at the desert. So there's been massive climate change in the past. And do they attribute man the cause of that? How come they contributed man? They're attributing man the cause of climate change today, but what about then in the past, when man didn't have all the industrial output that he has today? But anyways, all sorts of inconsistencies there. But we are certainly not climate change deniers. I notice I don't usually use the term global warming anymore, but they use climate change. So climates have changed down through the ages. A lot of young people today really don't know the recorded history even concerning climates, and they need to go and do some research, and they might be shocked to find how much climates have changed in the past, in the recorded past even, and therefore the little changes we see today, we've actually seen some bigger changes in the past. So what's happening is this: Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Facebook, where we're at right now, and also on our Answers in Genesis YouTube channel. So you can go to the Answers in Genesis YouTube channel, or you can go to my Facebook. If you're on my Facebook and you receive notifications, you'll get that. At 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going for the very first time to live stream the 2-hour walkthrough I did with Bill Nye. Now, it is available as a DVD that you can see here, and this is what we'll be doing. It's uncut, so we haven't changed it at all, and that's what we wanted to do, because we don't know what Bill Nye is going to do in his documentary and what little excerpts he's going to cut out. We're just going to show the whole thing uncut, and then it'll be up there on our Answers in Genesis YouTube channel. It'll be there on Facebook as well. But I think it's really a great illustration of two people who have a clash of worldviews. Bill Nye and I have totally different worldviews because we have totally different starting points: God's Word, man's Word. And I try to focus the arguments getting down to the foundation, and I point out the consequences of his foundation in man's Word and his worldview that therefore is based on naturalism, and some very interesting things that he says, and I'll mention some of those here in a moment. And so we walk through the Ark for 2 hours. We call it the second debate. Now, the first debate was just over 3 years ago when Bill Nye and I debated right here at the Creation Museum, and you can actually get that DVD uncut as well and go through the whole debate. This one is a little different. It's more informal and actually a lot longer, and so it allows me time to interact with Bill. It was lively, but it was cordial, and we interacted all the way through the Ark, through all 3 decks. Now, I just wanted to show you too that as a result of the first debate, my son-in-law and I, Bodie Hodge, actually wrote a book where we went through every single argument Bill brought up, because, you know, it was all very short, and we only had specific time to do certain things, and you had to respond to a question. You know, it was asked first 2 minutes, and then the other person had 1 minute, and so on. And so you couldn't really say a lot. So a lot of the things Bill and I just brought up, lots of different things, and so we have actually answered them in detail here. Bodie also wrote a book called Confounding the Critics, and that's teaching people how to challenge critics of God's Word. And then we have this set we call Debate the Critics, the Debate the Critics set that has the Bill Nye debate uncut, has the Confound the Critics in it, and inside the Nye-Ham debate. You can get all that as a set, and you can get it from the Answers in Genesis bookstore. And so you can go to answersingenesis.org to the store, and you can look at all those, and you can get the Nye-Ham, the second debate as well. Some of the things that we interacted about, climate change, obviously, and then Bill Nye made a statement that it's not crazy to believe we're descendants of Martians. And it's interesting. It just happened to be a number of groups there that day, and a big group of young people, and they followed us all the way through the Ark. You'll even hear a little girl at one stage tell Bill Nye she believes in God, and Bill Nye tells this little girl that she needs to go to college, and implying that if you want to go to college, you won't believe in God. And this little girl doesn't waver at all, and I thought it was really great to hear that little girl challenge Bill Nye. So Bill Nye said it's not crazy to believe we're descendants of Martians. So I asked him if it's crazy to believe we're descendants of Adam and Eve, of 2 people. And you'll have to hear his response when you watch the DVD. It's quite fascinating. I asked Bill, for instance, what happens when you die? And he said, when you die, you're done. And so then I challenged him on that. Well, when you die, you're done, and you won't even know you were here. What's the point of arguing with people like us? And then he talked about how it's important for scientific advancement and so on, and of the people that are living today. And then I said, well, when they die, they're done, so why does that matter? They wouldn't even know they were here. Why does it matter that you do anything for them? And so I kept pushing him to the consequences of his foundation in naturalism. I also asked him how he determined what was right and wrong, how we determined what was right and wrong. He said by consensus of the tribe. Well, what if you have different tribes that have different views of right and wrong, and they decide they want to eliminate another tribe, and that sort of thing. I think he was in shock when I actually asked him, why does he wear clothes? And you'll see that in the video. He really sort of reeled back a little. But it gave me opportunity, as we talked through that whole issue, gave me opportunity to share with Bill about the gospel message. And you'll see his reaction to that. And then right at the end of the 2 hours, I asked Bill if I could pray for him, and he said, well, I can't stop you. And he stood there and just stared at me while I prayed for him and prayed that God would open his heart to the truth. And one of the reasons that we want people to see this 2 hours, well, there's a number of reasons, but one of the reasons is I want you to see how I believe when you think foundationally that it's a worldview clash, but really it's a foundational clash between two religions, God's word and man's word. And when you think that way, that you're able to point out the consequences of his wrong foundation and understand why I believe what I do. And that's what I try to do all the way through the ark. And the young people that followed us through saw that as well. And that's one reason we want to show this to you. Another reason is to show you how you can share the gospel, but you need to share the gospel foundationally. In other words, when I asked him about clothing, I was starting at the very beginning in the entrance of sin and death to give the foundation. A lot of time we just tell people trust in Jesus, but we have whole generations today who don't even know who Jesus is. They don't know what sin is. They don't understand. They haven't got that foundational history. And so if you're going to actually communicate the gospel to them, you've got to start foundationally. The third thing is we don't know what he's going to use in the documentary, and so we just wanted you to see the entire walkthrough without any editing at all. It's uncut. And you'll see the entire interaction. Now, he also came to the museum. I wasn't with him when he came to the museum, but there were some students here from Camp Infinity, which is a STEM camp. We work with them, and they do camps in this area, and students come here to the Creation Museum, and you can find out about that too on our website, Camp Infinity. So those students were challenging him as he went through the museum. We didn't have our video crew there for that. We didn't really know that he was going to be doing that, but it'd be interesting to see what he shows of that. We've got a couple of little video clips in regard to that issue, and when one of the students challenged him about the death issue, and it's very sad to see his response to that. So all of that to say, Monday night, 8 p.m. I encourage you, get your youth group or invite people over, get them some donuts and coffee or something like that, and sit down, relax, and watch on live stream, either on my Facebook or the Answers in Genesis YouTube channel, and watch the NIHAM, what we call the NIHAM, the second debate. And so really, that's two debates I've had with Bill Nye. The formal debate, and that was just over 3 years ago, and then the second debate, which was a 2-hour walk through the Ark. And I encourage people to pray for Bill Nye as well. So I know it's early in the morning here. We actually have a children's conference on today here, and I can hear some of the people coming in the side door there, going down ready for our children's conference. I have to speak at 10 o'clock actually today in the auditorium to our children's conference. If anyone has any quick questions, they can certainly ask them, or if you want to make any comments, or tell us where you're from, and make sure that you tell others in your area, tell your church, the youth group, Christian school group, homeschool group, and also would encourage people, hey, invite your non-Christian friends and family over to watch the 2-hour second debate on Monday night, because it's someone who totally rejects God, Bill Nye, and myself, with a cordial debate, lively, very spirited at times, but we're challenging each other as we go through the Ark, and you'll get to see a bit of the inside of the Ark as well. And so with that, hey, look forward to you people being on my Facebook, or being on our Answers in Genesis YouTube channel. I'm here in the Dragon Hall bookstore. This is a very popular place for people. Our curricula that we have, our apologetics curricula, our 3-year Bible curriculum, which, by the way, is changing into a 4-year Bible curriculum, our VBS program, which is now in the top 3 in the world, and all of our other apologetics books and DVDs. I believe I can say this is the most unique resource store in the world, because most of the material in here is produced by Answers in Genesis or by Answers in Genesis authors, and just about everything in here is produced as a result of this ministry. And so this really is the most unique resource store in the world. And of course, the Ark Encounter gift store is unique in itself because of all the fair trade items. It has a selection of our apologetics materials, but it's a different sort of bookstore. And I've noticed that for April, May, June, July, the group bookings are through the roof coming to the Ark Encounter. and the Creation Museum. In fact, our main travel agent that books a lot of the groups, and she says she's getting hundreds and hundreds, about 700 calls a week right now for people wanting to inquire about booking groups to come to the Ark and the Creation Museum. And not only that, but she's booking quite a number of groups per day. And in April, spring break at different dates depending on where you are, but in April from north of Cincinnati all the way down to Lexington, it's getting hard to get hotel rooms. And the occupancy rate for the hotels is incredibly high. In fact, in Grant County, where the Ark is, the occupancy rate has been about 97%, which is absolutely phenomenal. Anyone who has a hotel knows that that's absolutely incredible. And they're building more hotels in that area. The impact of the Ark has been felt even as far away as Paducah. We heard people there in the tourist industry saying they're also being impacted by what they call the Ark effect. And it is the Ark effect. And our attendance here at the Creation Museum has doubled. It's interesting how there's been some news reports in recent times. The secularists so hate this ministry. They can't stand the fact that it's so successful. And people are pouring in from all over the world, like the Americans United for the Separation of Church and State. They wrote a real nasty article yesterday, totally lied about what's happening in regard to the impact of the Ark. Even said we were formerly known as Ark Encounter and we're now known as Ark Park, which is ridiculous. Our name is Ark Encounter. That's what it is. And then they went on to lie about taking money out of the county. Actually, we're bringing money into the county, and they do not understand the bond offering and don't understand any of those issues, and they get it all wrong and sort of claim that we've taken that money out of the county. The bond offering was totally privately funded by our supporters, and so it goes on. I mean, the lies that the secular media tell, hey, that's nothing new, we see it every day, see it in politics, don't we? All the fake news that's out there, and Americans United for Separation of Church and State, Freedom from Religion Foundation, those sorts of organizations, they just spread those lies, those urban legends. Anyway, hey, join us Monday. Go to the top of the comments and you should see a link there that'll go to the landing page. Just be on my Facebook, or make sure that you click to receive notifications, and it'll tell you when it goes live on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Facebook, or the Answers in Genesis YouTube channel. You can just do a search on that, or go to the link we provide you. It'll go to the landing page. And we'll do a countdown on my Facebook as well, and a countdown on the YouTube channel. So look forward to Monday night when we're going to stream this 2-hour walk through the Ark with Bill Nye, and that'll be the night after the premiere down in Texas of his Bill Nye Science Guide documentary. And we're hoping by Monday to have a written report on the documentary. We know someone who's going to see it, and they'll tell us, you know, what's in there and what clips of Answers in Genesis, Creation Museum, Ark Encounter are used, that sort of thing. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when his Netflix series come out. But I wouldn't encourage you to have your children watch his documentary or his Netflix series, because he wants to indoctrinate people in secular, evolutionary, humanistic philosophy. He wants to indoctrinate them in naturalism. It's a religion. That's what naturalism is. In fact, just before I close here, maybe I can get our bookstore manager who's standing here to grab me a copy of the World Religions and Cults set. We just completed the set, and Volume 3 in particular, because this particular set, here we go, this set here, number 3, is all about the secular religions. And this has become very, very popular. In fact, I could show you the chart if we can get one of the charts out. But if you look at Volume 3 here, Bodie Hodge and Roger Patterson did that. And this is the sort of thing we need today. This is the sort of thing we need to help people know. I just dropped it. Videographer is going to pick it up here. Thank you, Maria. Okay, so let me run through here. Secular and atheistic religions overview. Okay, atheism, agnosticism, secular humanism, Nazism, Scientology, communism, postmodernism, materialism, empiricism, and so it goes on. And to help people understand, atheism is a religion. It is a religion. It's an anti-God religion. It's a religion where they believe all life came about by natural processes. That's their belief. And this is in the set. We have this chart on world religions and cult. It's a timeline chart showing you how all those arose in history. It's a great summary chart. With that, I'm going to sign off here, and again see you Monday night at 8 p.m. on my Facebook, Answers in Genesis YouTube, for the second debate, the Bill Nye Ken Ham second debate, as we walk through the entire arc. You have a great day, and hope to see you Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA.